They're hard to get.
Yeah. One thing, a different set of skills, and whenever I took on, I did a lot of video work. All the in-game fun videos we did with the players, and I even got charged with doing intro videos for volleyball, men's and women's basketball in our arena. So kind of had to take on a lot of different roles. It was there was some long nights, and not a lot of pay. But now you've gotten it a few years, and things have changed a little bit to where I'm not necessarily doing as much as I was doing in years past. Especially with hour rules you have now in the United States. But you kind of put my own stamp on it and doing what I do, and being able to concentrate on the play-by-play has been just a gift because I was very lucky, and anybody that had a hand in getting me on, I thank you, just because it's hard to jump right into Division I. It is possible, but it's very hard to do that. You've got to pay your dues. Luckily, I was able to do that, and I love it. Obviously, that'd be the next step if I could change something. But having solid 2 basketball teams and really good baseball and softball, and obviously the volleyball program. Anytime you're Division I and you're playing good, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, those basketball season I'm sure is a marathon for you. Doing men's and women's games, and are those usually double headers for you, or do they play on different nights?
Well, the league changed. I've shifted more into men's. A couple of years ago, the Sun Belt Conference, we did have double headers, 5 and 7 o'clock. But that changed a couple of years ago to where now it's a mirrored schedule. When women are at home, men are on the road. Men at home, women are on the road. So that kind of took out a lot of things. That was, obviously conference-wide. So a lot of these different Sun Belt schools had to get a second play-by-play man, or they just simply didn't have it. And that's the case for us. And unfortunately, it takes the stress because we obviously don't have necessarily the funds to hire on somebody. We don't even have women's basketball on radio, just because obviously the DFW market is so saturated. We're not in Troy, Alabama. We're not in Statesboro, Georgia, where those are straight college towns. So it's a little unfortunate as far as that aspect goes. But it's all about just doing, hey, it's a poker game. You play with the hands you're dealt and see what you can get out of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the DFW is a very saturated market. There's a lot of things going on in the DFW market in any given night. So I'm sure that is something that kind of an obstacle that you guys have to work around as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always a couple weekends that you circle that, hey, there's going to be a lot going on there. There's always typically something going on at AT&T Stadium, whether it's a Cowboys game or it's a college game. Jerry likes to bring in 2 big-time college teams to start off the year. Typically, it's Alabama. We've had Michigan. We've had USC come in there. And then, obviously, you've got, FC Dallas Soccer. You've got Texas Legends, the G League, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Stars. They're right next door. Texas Rangers, they haven't opened it up yet, I guess, officially. But, their new stadium is now done. And then you've got the XFL. And then you go over to Fort Worth, TCU, and they just opened up a new arena where the American Athletic Conference was playing their basketball tournament this year. They obviously had to be stopped mid-game. But the American, they're moving their headquarters down south. You already have the Big 12 and Conference USA down here. So it continues to grow, and especially Arlington as well. There's so much going on in the city of Arlington with UTA, with Six Flags, with now 3 stadiums, Cowboys, Rangers, and now the ballpark in Arlington, which is now home of the XFL.
Well, the Big 12 tournament needs to definitely stay in Kansas City, not go back to Dallas again.
If I read right, Big 12 baseball tournament is headed back to Arlington.
That's fine. I'm talking about basketball.
Yeah. Basketball, yeah.
It's got to stay here, though. This is the home. It does really well here.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And those that the Sun Belt, we before the virus hit, what they were going to do is we just went from Lakefront Arena, home of University of New Orleans. We had our tournament there for 6 years straight. We were going to have a Final Four in the Smoothie King Center, home of the Pelicans. That was a 1-year deal, and now next year it's going to be Pensacola, Florida. The next 5 years we're going to be in Pensacola, Florida, as that's where our tournament will be. So it's always interesting. Tournaments are basketball tournaments as a mid-major, it's a love-hate relationship because tournaments are where dreams go to die. And if you win your tournament, if you're a mid-major, you win your tournament, then you're straight on to the NCAA. But typically in our conference, you're only going to get one bid. It's something else. So.
Yeah, we were big fans of the XFL and followed it closely. Austin and I were. Did you do anything with the Renegades?
I did not. I threw my hat in the list of working in-game stuff. I unfortunately did not get the phone call. That's okay. So no, I wanted to go to at least one of the games. They had 2 games there, but the first game tickets absolutely just expensive. You couldn't get in there for cheaper. Since I looked at it so late, you couldn't get in there cheaper for the $60 a pop. And just wasn't able to do it. I watched the first game on TV. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I'd love to go see the ballpark and just see what they've done with it. Just because I grew up, as I grew up here, went to a lot of Texas Rangers games, and I'm sure it's insanely weird to see, what is a baseball stadium turned into a football stadium. But never got the chance. But I mean, yeah, you saw they sold a lot of merchandise. The Renegades,
yeah.
They were a hot item. When everything got canceled. On pretty much Apocalypse Friday, I went into a local eating establishment, and sure enough, this is right next to UTA, and just a mile down from the stadium. A bunch of guys showed up. It's like, man, those guys look familiar. Well, hey, there's Landry Jones. Well, hey, there's a couple other guys that know familiar. Hey, there's a coaching staff. Here comes Bob Stoops rolling in there, and their season had just got canned, and it's like, hey, we're all gonna have a beverage and toast one last time, and hopefully we get to do it again next year. So it was cool to see.
You should have brought your portable mic and did a portable show from that spot, man.
I just if I see guys out having a good time, I don't like to mess with them. They're out there having a good time, and who am I to go up to them and say, hey, can I talk to you for a little bit? There's just no reason. So let them enjoy their time. Their season just got canceled. Our season just got canceled. Everyone was down in the blues that Friday morning.
Yeah, I was pretty. Me and Gary especially were very up on the XFL. We loved it. I loved it. I thought the way it was structured was great. I thought that the cities they picked were really, really good.
Except for St. Louis.
Yeah, not a fan of St. Louis. St. Louis had a good team, but I don't like St. Louis at all. But
St. Louis came in and swallowed the Renegades first game.
Yeah, the Chiefs signed their quarterback. He's our third string guy now. How do you say the guy the Hawaii guy? He's our third string quarterback. But anyways, it's kind of cool to hear that a city where the XFL was getting a lot of support, because I really thought it's structured really well, and then also the way the guy that's behind it, which is Vince McMahon, is loaded, and he had already come out and said, "Hey, I'm doing 3 seasons, no matter what. I'm going 3 seasons in, and then we're going to see where it goes from there." So it was kind of cool to see that. We were actually fans of the AAF. I enjoyed AAF football too. I think the XFL basically took lessons from the AAF and then kind of put it forward into it. So awesome to hear that the XFL was popular down in Dallas, which is really cool. I don't think we have I don't know if we have a big enough market here in KC to have a team yet or anything like that, but
weather could be a factor too.
Weather too.
City.
But I mean, I think it's cool, and for me, and I know Gary feels the same way. If I can get football all year, I'm gonna take it. Obviously not summertime, but like every other time of the year, give it to me.
Yeah, I think you maybe take about a month off, and that's what was pretty much going to happen with the XFL, because whenever they wrapped up, hey, now we're a few weeks away from NFL training camp, and then you got college football starting up, and then here's the NFL, Beautiful. And you keep it rolling. I think you need maybe a 3-week break, maybe something like that. But even in that 3 weeks, you turn on the TV right now, and all we're talking about is NFL draft. NFL is year round, as we know. But I think I like the XFL. I enjoyed watching the games on TV. I hope they can go the 3 years. I hope it's a continuous thing, because it's just a little different flavor. We like football. We're football fans. And, it's something new, and a couple of the rule changes. It's just different. It's just fun to watch, fun to experiment.
One thing that's different too that we noticed the difference between AAF and what XFL's done is the number of players that have made it from the XFL into the NFL now. Guys are getting signed. A lot of the best players in the league got NFL contracts this season. So it's really cool to see that. And what we'll probably see is some of the NFL players that got cut or whatever, they'll trickle down the XFL and then try to take their second shot at trying to make it to the league, which is going to be what the XFL I think it's how the XFL. One reason they're going to survive if they can keep getting the NFL to go after their players and stuff like that. So it was really cool. I mean, what was it? PJ Tucker. I mean, he was
from Houston.
Obviously, was the best quarterback in the league. And I mean, and as soon as the XFL goes down, NFL free agency opens up. I mean, he got signed right away. I think he's backing up Bridgewater in Carolina right now.
I think so.
So it's awesome for me, and we're big football guys, and we love college football and XFL. And shoot, I mean, I'll even watch a random arena game or whatever. I don't care. NFL, everything. So just keep giving me good football, and I'll take it.
Yeah, and you touched on it. That's what the XFL needs to be. Is a lot of these guys, it's tough to make an NFL team, and you can be a great player and not even make the practice squad. So not necessarily make it a feeder system, but
right.
That's what it will turn into, and you've already seen that a little bit this offseason. So that's what it continues to be, and I think it'll be successful.
Yeah, so back to kind of talking about your UT Arlington, as the voice of them, their athletics. Share a couple stories with us from, this last season, a couple memories from, maybe volleyball or basketball that just stick out in your mind.
Well, obviously we got everything started. Volleyball had a great year. They went to the NIVC, kind of the secondary tournament, and went a couple rounds there. And it was fun because they're building that program. JT Winger's in his third year as the head coach. Then he transitioned into Lady Mavs basketball and men's basketball. And Lady Mavs, they had one of their toughest non-conference seasons. They went down to the Virgin Islands and played 3 games, 2 against top 10 schools. And they had a successful season, if you want to call it. They finished third in the league, and unfortunately, they had a different tournament system. They had a pod system to get to the Final Four, which is in New Orleans, and unfortunately, South Alabama with a big upset in the last game. New Orleans knocked off the Lady Mavs, so it's kind of a tough ending to the year, but another successful year for them. And then men's basketball, we were coming off a second-place finish in the league under a first-year head coach, kind of a rebuild year, and really raised some eyebrows. This year, a little bit tougher than what we expected. We finished 7th, just not our year, and we got bounced in the opening round by the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. It's always a fun team to say, and we had some good wins, and had some tough losses, and then you had baseball and softball starting up. Softball had a big win over number 18 Baylor early in the year, and they had just got conference season started. They were looking up, and then baseball was off to a great start, one of the best starts in team history. Baseball knocked off back-to-back weeks, top 25 teams, knocked off Dallas Baptist, then went to TCU and came back down 4-1 to take it 6-4 in 12 innings. And all of a sudden you look at the RPI, and UTA is the number 4 RPI team in the country. And so we're thinking, man, we are absolutely rolling. And then all of a sudden here comes number 9 Oakland in town, and great game, lost 3-0. The hits when we needed them to. And who would have thought that turned into our very last game of the year? That was the Tuesday before everything shut down. And baseball was looking really, really good this year. A lot of pitching, a lot of hitting, but unfortunately, it's a season that we're never going to know what's going to happen. But happy the NCAA said you guys can come back next year, and we'll see how all that shapes out. But another fun year of UTA Maverick basketball. Kind of right in the heart of the Metroplex, and all sports really, right in between Dallas and Fort Worth. We're only a couple miles from AT&T Stadium. We're in a good conference too. Sunbelt's real tough in every single sport, and you always watch out for those Sunbelt teams, whoever you play at the tournament.
Yeah, glad that you guys had a good year, and you did at least get a start to your, baseball, softball seasons. Kind of got those rolling, and it sounds like your baseball team was, maybe ready to do some damage this year, but unfortunately with the COVID-19, everything got shut down.
It was tough, and our team, after the OU game, they had a weekend series against Little Rock, and they were on their bus right around Texarkana when they got the call that said, "Turn around, you're not playing," and so they had to head back home, and that was such a surreal feeling. I wasn't with them, but I can only imagine what that was like. And then obviously it was hours later when they said, "Yeah, we're pretty much done. There's no chance of this." So that was a very surreal few days. I actually was the Wednesday night when the NBA shut down. U.S. women's soccer team was hosting one of their many yearly tournaments, taking on Japan at a Toyota Stadium. It was a packed house, sold out. and we had to be there all day, and we're following online, and everything's shutting down, and we're all looking at each other and saying, this is probably going to be it for a while. And then obviously the next day, just not a lot of fun. Apocalypse Thursday. Everything getting shut down, and so it was a surreal feeling. It's absolutely horrible. There's a lot of people I